The Edmonton Oilers step into the first half of a back-to-back here in St. Louis, and we welcome in Bob Stauffer to Game Keys. And Bob, as we reflect on the month of October and where the Oilers are at right now, there was certainly some ups and there was some downs as well. But as Connor McDavid said, that's October hockey. And what did you think about the ups and the downs that we saw from you?
Oh, I think you're right. There were ups and downs. There's no question about it. There were some tougher moments. I mean, I don't even know if the Oilers played maybe the second game of the year against Vancouver was a pretty complete game. Other than that, there were moments in every game where they'd probably like to have some of those moments back. And then even in the games that they lost, there were a couple times where they had some pretty good things going. So, if you told me when we left Edmonton yesterday morning, the Oilers were tied for first place in the Pacific Division, based on the amount of consternation that there is in oil country about this team right now, maybe that would have been seen as a bit of a surprise. But I do know this. I believe this team collectively, this group, has a lot more room to grow. Zach Hyman returning sometime in the month of November, maybe a week from tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets, I think is going to be huge. Just because I think at times the Oilers haven't scored the dirty, greasy goals, and that's something that Zach sells at. Plus, he's a really good forechecker. He's an important player on the team. And, the defense is getting healthier, and I think we're starting to see a little bit of, better, well-rounded play from the back end. So, all that said, I do tend to agree with Connor. Like, October hockey does tend to be a little bit scrambling, and you can't – I know there's a saying, you got to be by this spot, by U.S. Thanksgiving. And all we need to do is look over and about 120 feet away is Doug Armstrong talking to the Hall of Famer Al McInnes. And let's not forget that back in the 18-19 season, people had written St. Louis off at the end of November. And they went on to win the Stanley Cup. So I think Edmonton's in an okay spot. I think the team has a lot more game to give, and I'm fairly confident that they're going to get there.
You mentioned Zach Hyman, and so often we see him, of course, on the first power play unit with that net front presence. We were able to see Jack Roslovic there, and he has been a bright spot for this team. So has the power play. So between number 28 and also the power play, Chris has said, that's somewhere where the Oilers need to be able to leverage in order to win hockey games, and tonight against the Blues, certainly.
Well, St. Louis is really struggling. Like, they're the worst defensive team in the NHL right now, even though Jordan Binnington is a stone-cold mortal walk to be Team Canada's starting goaltender based on how well he played in the Four Nations face-off. So, I look at the Oilers' power play. I actually thought Roslovic looked great in that spot. And again, there's been some parts to Jack's game that surprised me a little bit. And I think the Oilers have got something here with this guy. And I think Stan Bowman was correct in his assessment. Clearly, he felt that Roslovic was too good of a player to pass up on, and the Oilers got back in the game on Roslovic with Justin Duberman as agent, and it has a chance to hit the home run for this year. Like, he all day looks like a top six forward on this team, so that bodes well for Edmonton. The power play is good. The 5-on-5 shooting percentage has played a major factor in why the Oilers haven't scored more 5-on-5. That tends to have a bit of a market correction. Either if you're shooting the lights out early, like Chicago was, sometimes you come back down to earth. And if you're struggling to score early, like, say, Minnesota and Edmonton have 5-on-5, that usually has an uptick at some point. So I'm fairly confident the team will grow and improve during the course of the season, barring a significant injury. But this has never been an easy place for Edmonton to play. St. Louis, there's certain places that historically the Oilers have played it well. In my experience here over the last 18 years, this has been a tougher place to play.
Well, and the Oilers always say everyone gets up to play them. They want to be playing their best against the Oilers.
Yeah, you have McDavid and Draisaitl. Teams are going to get up to play it. And then you're the team that's gone to the Stanley Cup final and won the West the last 2 years. Absolutely, you're being used as a measuring stick by opposition teams, Paige.
Safe to say we're in for a good one here in St. Louis. Oil Country, hope you're ready. A big 2 points up for grabs.